welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, November 19, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has called on countries to incorporate data from their meteorological or Met services as part of their national planning. Speaking today at the 60th session of the Caribbean Meteorological Council, hosted virtually by this country, Dr. Gonsalves remarked that such incorporation is hardly done in the region. The Vincentian Prime Minister, who was a featured speaker, said data can be used to properly prepare for and manage disasters in the region, and pointed to the training personnel, noting that this is key.
The issue of climate change, we have to have better meteorological systems and better trained persons, better and easier dissemination of information and an understanding by the public to save lives and improve livelihoods, strengthen our infrastructure, strengthen resilience. And I'm making a plea for its greater inclusion in its data, the trends in our economic and social planning, not only in relation to emergencies or some of the traditional things in which we use meteorology for.
The Prime Minister pointed also to the need to maximize collaboration with all relevant agencies and organizations in the region and internationally.
Have to carve out, and the international agencies have to carve out programs, not just special and differential programs, as though they are somehow additions or even optional, but that's central to any discussion on any of these matters. Has to be a place as of right for a small island exceptionalism, not something which to be dealt with in a discretionary way, but to be addressed as important for the people themselves and important for humanity.
Highlighting SVG's disaster response and climate change resilience responses, PM Gonsalves said that many programs have been implemented, including early warning systems.
And our National Emergency Management Organization has implemented also a local multi-hazard emergency warning system known as the Common Alerting Protocol, which allow our residents to receive alerts of impending hazards or threats and via email, a mobile application, or by radio interrupt. I think if this conference, this council meeting addresses, and I'm sure it will, looking at the documentation and the agenda, all of these matters, I think we're going to go some way to delivering better services for societal needs.
The Secretary General of the World Met Organization, Professor Peter Lala, said that Caribbean countries have the challenge of data gathering and reporting, which have impacted negatively on the response and preparedness for climate change. Dr. Lala said that the sea level rise of 20 centimeters over the last 5 years is of major concern. The theme for this year's Met Council session was better services and social needs. The Ministry of National Mobilization, Social Development, Family, Gender Affairs and Youth today joined 70 countries across the globe to observe International Men's Day under the theme Better Health for Men and Boys. The objective is to focus on the health of men and boys, improve gender relations and promote gender equality, as well as highlight male role models. In an address to mark the occasion, Minister of National Mobilization and Gender Affairs, Rondo Brewster, encouraged everyone to break the silence towards men and boys, noting that around the world, many men face physical and psychological problems.
3 of 4 suicides are men, 9 of 10 prisoners are men, and 2 in 3 murders are men. Year 2020 has seen the COVID-19 pandemic sinking its teeth into our Vincentian society, wreaking havoc on our livelihoods with specific and often invisible effect on men and boys. Economically, the pandemic has caused industries, businesses, and governments to work under difficult circumstances, rendering many men and boys unemployed and unable to provide for their families. The secondary effect of the pandemic could also trigger unpredictable and widespread mental health challenges such as depression, stress, insomnia, emotional exhaustion, and substance abuse.
Minister Brewster said the culture and society do not leave space for men and boys to express their inner struggles.
In their lives, they have been told to man up and be strong. Men are taught from an early age through socialization that they must be tough, hard, not cry or show emotions, and to never need help. Hence, our boys and men tend to not seek help even if they need it. All these expectations can put a strain on men's health. Men must also know what they can do about their health, as they often experience many problems from sexual dysfunction to prostate issues. Therefore, it is imperative that all men to think carefully about what they can do to stay healthy. Today provides an opportunity for all of us, women and men, to unite, and that is why International Men's Day is so important.
The minister is engaged in a virtual discussion which began at 6 this evening as part of the campaign to promote International Men's Day, where he is shaping the government's plans in promoting men's health.
Urges us to work for a transformation in relations between women and men at all levels of society. The International Men's Day campaign, which is spearheaded by the Gender Affairs Division within my ministry, will today undertake a virtual discussion by a team of men in the area of health, psychosocial support, and development. I will also join the discussion, sharing my government plans on promoting men's health in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This forum would also be used as a platform to heighten public awareness on male mental health and its support of men. Over the years, the government has ensured that programs are geared towards men's development, such as parenting programs, maternal and paternal leaves, sustainable livelihood programs, just to name a few. The Ministry of National Mobilization must be at the forefront of those endeavors and pledges to do all it can to ensure that this is not only International Men's Day, but every day.
And President of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, is encouraging men to make their health a priority and said that the theme for International Men's Day, a better health for men and boys, is fitting. He said many times men, including the male teachers, take their health for granted, which should never be the case. Robinson has stressed that instilling in boys the importance of health can go a long way in them making proper health choices.
Important that this theme, as it focused on boys, because we have to nip it in the bud very early to encourage our boys to seek every opportunity to remain healthy, because health is wealth. Health would go a long way in terms of extending our lifespan. It's important that we seek every opportunity to remain healthy, because as we are saying is that health is not just only physical health, and this is an area where a lot of men do not pay much attention. We want our men to put health as a priority, because at the end of the day, those of us men who have families, you have to remain healthy so that you'll be able to shoulder your responsibility.
The Teachers Union president said too many men face challenges and are burdened with many issues, including abuse, which they do not know how to deal with, and he is urging men to speak up and break the silence.
To be more temperate in what we deal with, because so many times men fall short they lose their temper and they get into conflict, which may lead to violence and other stuff. There are a lot of men in our society who are also being abused. Many times you would hear people say, oh, I con him, oh, I rob him, you know. And in the colloquial terms, people say, I dig out his eyes. And most of the time, the victim is a man, and men a lot of times do not speak out. There are a lot of men who are afraid to cry because that is the expectation of society. But if you're feeling pain and you're sick, you need to cry because you're a human being, you know. And there are so many issues affecting men today.
Robinson also raised the issue of men who are not living up to their roles and responsibilities and asked that they take some time to reflect and make positive changes. Men are encouraged to shoulder their responsibility, especially men who are fathers. You know, your role model is so critical, especially for the young children. Make sure that you attend the PTA meetings, because far too long we allow the mothers and the females to attend these meetings. So we want the men to focus on what is important, not only for themselves, but also for their families and the rest of the society. It's important that you manage your finances properly. A 56-year-old former sailor and mason of Daphne, who is living with the effects of a stroke, is encouraging men to pay more attention to their health by eating healthier and visiting the doctor more regularly. This advice has come from Everton Kwame, as this country joined with others to observe International Men's Day today under the theme Better Health for Men. In an interview with SVGTV News, Kwame shared his life story of being delinquent with his mental and physical health. He suffered a stroke 8 years ago and was experiencing several bouts of bad headaches. However, instead of seeing a doctor, Kwame said he would usually self-medicate. It was while doing some work around the home one day that he suddenly got sick and couldn't move his body.
He told me he wants coconut water. So I take the bamboo rod and go and chuck the coconut off it for him. But looking up and chucking, one coconut leaf on the bunch, and every time I chuck it, it keep twisting and twisting and twisting. And then I just leave it and then I try to walk off. And I try to walk off. I can't move. I feel dizzy. I can't move. And my son mother, she come from up the same time and see me by the coconut tree stand up, hold on. And she have me to me, and she didn't feel good. She tell me must come. When I try to move off, I can't move. So she come and she get me the road. She call her father, and her father, they get a ride and they take me to the hospital. And I catch myself the next morning and the hospital bed, can't move my left side.
Kwame shared that he was neglected by friends and some family after he became ill and couldn't walk, but received support from his sister who resides in the USA. He was given 6 months to live and eventually discharged from hospital. But Kwame, who also suffers from hypertension, is thanking God and his sister for being still alive 8 years later, saying they never give up upon him.
So I was on my own, fighting on my own, doing therapy. But from day one, as I get this stroke, as I take in my sister, she called for them. My brother called my sister and told her in America. And my sister take over from that day. My sister, she said, help me. She keep praying with me. She calling, how much time today she call him, praying with me. The doctor tell me, when she called the doctor the next morning, the doctor said he gave me 6 months to live. And my sister said, okay, and she started to pray, Some of our church members also prayed with me too, on the phone from America. And then she contact Dennis Bayam to do private therapy with me. And I go, I do the therapy. And I fight, and I fight from there. I get back up walking with my cane. A couple of months ago, I put down my cane. And I got to thank God. I still here moving around 8 years now.
Kwame said he is much stronger now than before and is thankful that God brought him back on his feet today. While he is unable to work as before, Kwame is still able to sell ripe bananas, ground provisions, and other produce to help support himself and his son, who is still in school.
I encourage everybody to keep going by the clinic, going by the doctor, and check the pressure on a daily basis, every week. Make sure go and check the pressure because this is not a easy road to walk. Sometimes I try to do something I used to do before, and when I can't, I just bust out one hard cry because I know what I used to do and I can't do it no more. And then I asked for a little help, and a guy helped me build up a little shop, a little market, and I started to sell provision and ripe banana. So I do that on a daily basis because I have my son, one of my sons go to Morocco convent, and he need money every day. My sisters do support me, but still, I just want to do something to keep active.
Kwame said he is now taking better care of his body, and this includes having regular medical checks, taking vitamin supplements, and most of all, serving God. He hopes that others use his story as a lesson. In other news, St. Vincent and the Grenadines today recorded one new COVID-19 case. The case is of Vincentian, who arrived from Canada on Thursday, November 12th, with a negative RT-PCR test result and test negative on entry screening and on day 5 testing. However, repeat testing on day 7 due to assess increased individual risk was positive. The Ministry of Health said the adult was in mandatory quarantine and will be isolated until cleared by 2 negative tests. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has now recorded a total of 84 COVID-19 cases, 78 of which have recovered. There are now 6 active COVID-19 cases who all arrive from countries categorized as high risk. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has expressed disappointment that a number of persons for whom the government provided COVID-19 support, sailors in particular, did not vote for his Unity Labour Party in the just concluded general elections. Speaking on NBC Radio's face-to-face program yesterday, PM Gonsalves said the sailors should know that it was his administration who fought to bring them home and provided them with a $300 monthly support, which he made clear was not intended as a living wage.
And they form a network across the country, I'm telling you this, who opposed me, despite what I did for the sailors. Objectively, most of them voted against the ULP. Life really ain't fair, eh? But as the NDP was saying, don't bring them home. Lock it down tight like a drum on April the 7th. And I insisted, no, we have to bring them. They said I must close the ports, close the seaports, close the airport. You remember that? I said citizenship counts or something. I said Jamaica can keep them out if they want. Remember at the time when Jamaica was keeping them out? I said that's not happening here, but we're bringing them in accordance with protocols. And we brought them in.
The Prime Minister said he will continue to support the sailors in everything, despite them being unfair to him at the polls.
On the basis of what? On the basis of what they felt that I should have done.
that I wanted to keep them out at sea, which is absolutely untrue. And I have several letters, several emails from sailors expressing appreciation for what I was doing. But, you know, is life, eh? You win some, you lose some. But this is the first time I've said that publicly. And I will tell you this. It's one of the things in politics that even when you implement good policy, sensible policy and helpful policy for people, sometimes they turn around and kick you in the pants. But there it is. You can't do anything other than what you have to do. Do it right and proper.
Noting that he is not afraid of criticisms, Dr. Gonzalez said he has sworn to and will continue to uphold the Constitution and laws of the country legally and politically.
I have some who wanted to facilitate the recolonization. And I tell you this here today. I hear some of them talking what they will do and what they wouldn't do. I just want to tell them, the man who's talking here, I am the master of the street. And they mustn't try and test me. I am the master of the street. I hope the Christian Council talk to them with some of the irresponsible things that they're saying and doing. But some in the Christian Council only got mouth for Ralph. You know? I say some. I have been observing and I've been listening. I ain't threatening nobody because what I'm saying is not a threat. I'm just upholding my oath. And I'm doing what I consider to be part of my life work, to defend the sovereignty and independence of this country, prevent it from being recolonized. And I'm not going to allow, whether it's a right-wing opportunist, or an infantile leftist, or any backward elements of the petty bourgeoisie, none of them, to shake the independence and sovereignty and national interest of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
In other news, the St. Joseph Convent Kingstown and the New Prospect Primary Schools emerged winners in the secondary and primary category of the 2020 Living Well Clean School Competition. The many-pronged competition, which concluded with a presentation ceremony at the Methodist Church Hall on Wednesday, November 11th, was organized by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment. Chief Health Promotion Officer Patsy Wiley said the competition aimed at implementing preventative measures to control the spread of COVID-19 and dengue fever while promoting environmental stewardship and health and safety in schools. In the secondary schools category, Bishop's College Kingstown placed second, while the North Union Secondary placed third. The Belair Primary School took the second place position in the primary schools category, with the Park Hill Government School placing third. The Fair Hall Government received a special award for outstanding performance. Judging in the competition was based on the cleanliness, beautification and implementation of the school's COVID-19 protocols. The top three schools were required to prepare a final video presentation, which was presented at the prize-giving ceremony. In other news, the Roads, Buildings and General Services Authority, BRAXA, has completed the construction of a new road in the Old Flour Mill area at Lomans Bay. BRAXA said the project, costing a total of $240,000, saw the construction of a 700 feet of concrete road along with 727 feet of box, slipper and curb drains. The project, which was carried out over a 5-month period, some 550 feet of retaining walls was also being constructed.